Today's lesson is Tom Cruise, Hollywood's daredevil action star. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike.
And I am Roger, and we're going to talk about a celebrity in today's program. We're talking about an actor by the name of Tom Cruise. Maybe you have heard of him. We're describing him as Hollywood's daredevil action star. Are you a big fan of Tom Cruise, Mike?
I've definitely seen more than a few of his movies, partly because he's been a big movie star since, the mid-1980s.
Yeah, he's been around for quite some time.
And he's been in a lot of very successful movies, big movie franchises, Top Gun and Mission Impossible. Made a lot of interesting movies as well. He's quite famous for his private life, for being married to movie stars like Nicole Kidman and people like that. So yeah, I don't think you have to be a big movie buff or a movie fan to know Tom Cruise, and as I said, since he's been in so many popular movies over such a long period, he's one of those movie stars that I feel pretty confident in saying almost everyone listening to our show and reading this article along with us today has probably seen at least one Tom Cruise film, and if you haven't, I would kind of wonder, what have you been doing for the last 40 years?
Yeah, how could you miss them?
Really?
They're all over the place on TV, on the internet, in movie theaters.
And so pretty good, many of them.
Actually, if you like action movies, he's kind of the actor you should check out. So let's find out about Tom Cruise. Let's listen to the first paragraph and introduce this great man to us all.
Tom Cruise, Hollywood's daredevil action star. He's piloted fighter jets and scaled skyscrapers. He's jumped out of planes and ridden motorcycles off cliffs. But after countless stunts in a career that's lasted over 40 years and counting, one thing Hollywood action hero Tom Cruise won't do is slow down.
大家好，第一部分介绍名词 skyscraper， 它的意思是摩天大楼。例如 The tallest skyscraper in the country is over 100 stories high. 该国最高的摩天大楼有100多层楼高。或者Skyscrapers offer an amazing view of the city. 摩天大楼为城市带来绝佳的视野。再来看到名词 cliff， 表示悬崖或是峭壁。例如 Bird stood near the edge of the cliff and looked out over the ocean down below. Bird 站在悬崖边，眺望着下面的大海。或是 Tim stood at the edge of the cliff and took a picture. Tim 站在悬崖边，拍了一张照片。继续看到名词 stunt， 它的意思是特技表演或是动作，但同时也可以是噱头的意思。例如 Randy can do backflips and other impressive stunts on his dirt bike. Randy 能在越野机车上做出后空翻和其他高难度的特技。也可以说 Michelle Yeoh is famous for performing all of her own stunts. 杨紫琼因特技动作不假他人而出名。
Okay, so again, we're talking about Tom Cruise, who is Hollywood's daredevil action star. Now, if you're a daredevil, you're not afraid to do dangerous things for excitement, okay? Maybe you like hang gliding or parachuting and things like that, or you like riding motorcycles over jumps and things like that. That means you're a daredevil. You like action that is a little dangerous.
Exactly. If you're a stunt man, you're definitely going to be a daredevil. Might even call circus performers daredevils, right? People on the flying trapeze or walking along a tightrope meters above the ground, putting their life and limb at risk. And he is definitely a daredevil action star. As many of you probably know, he is, of course, one of the action stars that Hollywood turns to, but there are a lot of them. But Tom Cruise is unusual in that he does many of his own stunts himself. As it says there, he's piloted fighter jets, scaled skyscrapers, climbed up tall buildings, jumped out of planes, ridden motorcycles off cliffs. We should point out, he's actually done all of those things. That's really him doing many of those things in his own movies. A lot of movie stars, of course, will use stunt people to sort of do the dangerous stuff, but Tom Cruise is famous for doing these things on his own. Flying fighter jets, if you pilot something, that means you're in charge of the plane. It's like you're driving the plane. So he's not just the passenger in the back acting like he's the pilot. He's actually flying this fighter jet. I think they were F-14s in the first Top Gun movie and then F-18s in the second one. And he is a licensed pilot. I think he's also a licensed helicopter pilot as well, Tom Cruise. He has scaled skyscrapers. Yes, he's climbed up the outside of very, very tall buildings. I think the tallest building in the world for one of those Mission Impossible movies. He actually did it himself. I'm sure the director and the producers on the film were having heart attacks. If he fell and hurt himself, or even worse, that would have been terrible. But he did it. And then he's jumped out of planes, I think again in Mission Impossible, and ridden motorcycles off cliffs. I remember that from the ads for the most recent Mission Impossible. He did ride a motorcycle off a cliff and then turned it into a parachute jump. Of course, a cliff is basically where the land stops, the earth falls away, and you have basically a wall of rock. That is what the cliff is. A good place to jump off with a parachute, or maybe a good place to climb up if you're a skilled mountain climber. But cliffs also allow you, of course, a wonderful view of the land around, because you're on a very raised part of the land that's surrounded by a much lower land, as if the land stops and basically drops like a sheer drop or a rock wall. And Tom Cruise sees that and he thinks, yep, I'm going to drive a motorcycle off of that because I'm a famous movie star.
Indeed. And, of course, he does his own stunts, just like Jackie Chan did.
Oh, yeah.
And, but after countless stunts in a career that's lasted over 40 years and counting, one thing Hollywood action hero Tom Cruise won't do is slow down. He's still going strong. So, of course, he's had countless stunts in this 40-year-long career. A stunt, of course, is something you perform for a movie. It involves some kind of action, maybe flipping through the air or jumping out of an airplane or riding a motorcycle off a cliff. Those are stunts. Don't confuse those with tricks, like if you like to ride BMX bicycles, for example, and you go off a ramp and you spin the bicycle in the air and land on the wheels. That would be a trick. But in this particular case, we're talking about stunts, and those occur usually in the movies only.
Exactly right. So he's been doing this in a career that's lasted 40 years and counting. And when we see that number and it says and counting, that means that's not the final number. This number could still be added to, right? So if you're in the middle of the basketball game and someone says, wow, you're playing really great, you've already scored 20 points and counting, that means you're going to continue to play in that game, so you could continue to add to that points total. So he's been doing this for 40 years. Let's say he started movies when he was, 20, 18? So he's pushing 60 years old, but he's still doing stunts. It says one thing Hollywood action hero Tom Cruise won't do is slow down. In other words, he won't sort of stop doing these stunts in these films. He's probably not going to suddenly transition to making quiet little drama movies. He's probably going to be jumping out of things and off of things into his 60s and maybe even into his 70s. Who knows? It basically means we can't stop this guy. He just loves to do these dangerous things to make very exciting movies.
Let's continue now with the second paragraph and talk about his life and times. We'll listen to the second part and find out about his early life.
Born on July 3rd, 1962 in Syracuse, New York, Cruise moved frequently during his childhood before his family eventually settled in New Jersey. As a teenager, he studied to become a Catholic priest, but quit after a year. During high school, he realized his true passion was acting, and he moved to New York City after graduating to pursue an acting career.
第二部分介绍副词 eventually， 表示最终、终于或是最后。我们可以说 Cassandra eventually found her keys after 15 minutes of searching.Cassandra 在找了15分钟后，终于找到她的钥匙。又或者说 Eventually, Lucy solved the math problem. 最后 Lucy 解开了这道数学问题。
All right, so let's find out, yes, about Tom Cruise's childhood. This is actually something I don't think I know a lot about, right? He didn't come from a famous showbiz family. I don't think he had family, TV stars or movie stars. So yeah, where did Tom Cruise come from? It says, born on July 3rd, 1962 in Syracuse, New York. That's a smaller town in upstate New York. I believe it's also home to a famous university. And notice there he was born July 3rd, the day before America's birthday, Independence Day, on July 4th. So born in New York, but it says Cruise moved frequently during his childhood before his family eventually settled in New Jersey. When we say he moved during his childhood, we can assume he moved with his family. It wasn't just this young boy being moved from place to place. But eventually it says they settled in New Jersey. So probably after living in a few different places in his early years, he probably settled down and spent more of his educational youth, his young school days in New Jersey. That's where they eventually settled, eventually showing us that this is something that happened after a certain period of time has passed. So we did a bunch of things in the morning, and then eventually we sat down for lunch at a local coffee shop after doing all of these different activities. After moving to these places, his family eventually settled in the state of New Jersey.
Right, which is the state that is straight west of New York City.
Right.
Lots of people live in New Jersey and then commute to New York City to work on a daily basis. You may have some relatives or friends who do live in New Jersey. And as a teenager, he studied to become a Catholic priest.
Really?
But quit after a year. That's quite an ambition there. If you're a member of the Catholic Church, of course, you're in the church that's based in Rome with the Pope, the Vatican City there in Rome. And, of course, if you follow that religion, you are a Catholic. And here he wanted to become a Catholic priest. A priest, of course, is somebody who directs services in a Catholic ceremony called a Mass. Of course, the Protestants had different terms. We had pastors or fathers or whatever. But if you're a Catholic, then you have a priest. And he wanted to become a priest, but he quit after a year. He thought, nah, I don't want to be a priest. It's a great job, maybe, but I'd rather do something else.
So he quit after a year. Not the most dedicated, maybe, Catholic student there, but he definitely thought about it seriously, so it was important to him at that time. It says during high school, he realized his true passion was acting, and he moved to New York City after graduating to pursue an acting career. So yes, the Catholic Church might have been interesting, but he really wanted to be in plays and movies and television shows. That's not exactly what a Catholic priest would normally be doing with their life. So he decided to quit the church and quit that sort of form of education and become an actor. So he moved to New York City, which is where you would go if you live in New Jersey to try to get jobs in acting. Of course, Broadway is there. A lot of television is produced in New York City as well, and a lot of acting schools. So he moved there to pursue an acting career. When we pursue a career, that basically means that's the type of career we want to have. That's the kind of job we want to have in our future. So we will do all of the things necessary to get that kind of job. We'll get an education, we'll pass all the right classes, get all the right degrees, and then hopefully get hired by a company in that. So someone might pursue a career in medicine or the law. They go to law school, they go to medical school, they do all the tests, and hopefully they will end up later on having a career in this field. In his case, he wanted to pursue an acting career. So go out and play, act, and perform in a lot of plays if you can, take classes, and then eventually get your big break. And we'll be coming to that big break for Tom Cruise in the third part of the article. Cruise's big break came in 1983 with the film Risky Business, in which he played a teenager whose life spins out of control while his parents are away. The film was a huge success, and Cruise quickly became a hot commodity in Hollywood. He was soon starring in numerous hit films, including Top Gun, 1986, Rain Man, 1988, and Mission Impossible, 1996. Cruise has showcased his versatility by appearing in a wide range of genres, and he remains a top box office draw to this day.
第三部分看到 commodity 这个单字，它是名词，指有价值的人、有用的事物，也可以是商品或是货物。例如 Time is a precious commodity, so don't waste it. 时间是很宝贵的，所以不要浪费它。再看一个例子 Gold is a precious commodity. 黄金是一种珍贵的商品。接着介绍形容词 numerous， 指的是许多的或是大量的。举例来说 The bakery sells numerous types of bread. 这间面包店贩卖多款面包。又或者说 Numerous people lined up to get a free bag. 许多人排队领取免费包包。后面看到动词 showcase 表示充分展现优点。例如 The event will showcase the talents of renowned chefs from around the world. 这场活动将展现来自世界各地知名大厨的才华。最后看到 genre 这个单字，它是名词，表示文学、电影、音乐等类型或是题材。我们可以说 Helga likes all film genres except horror. Helga 喜欢各种类型的电影，除了恐怖片之外。最后一个例子 Rock is my brother's favorite musical genre. 摇滚乐是我哥哥最喜欢的音乐类型。
Okay, let's talk about the third part of our article for today. Now, of course, if you're an aspiring actor or actress, you probably have to wait a long time before you get your big break. You probably have to have a job as a waiter or a waitress or in a Starbucks or whatever. And so you try out for various roles, you go to auditions, and eventually Cruise's big break came in 1983 with the film Risky Business, in which he played a teenager whose life spins out of control while his parents are away. So that's his big break, his big opportunity. That's when things changed for him. He was no longer taking small roles. Now he became very popular, and directors came looking for him. That happened way back in 1983. And you may remember the film Risky Business. I remember that. I think he was wearing sunglasses and dancing around in a T-shirt or something like that.
T-shirt and underwear.
Right. That's the famous scene. And, of course, lots of girls saw that and went, wow, who's that guy? I want to get to know him. And the rest is history. He's now pretty popular, so the film was a huge success. Lots of people went to check it out. I saw it on cable TV myself. And Cruise quickly became a hot commodity in Hollywood. Now, usually a commodity is some kind of raw material that's traded on the market, like wheat or rice or copper or whatever. But in this particular case, it's just something that is exchanged. It is something that is very valuable. He became a hot commodity in Hollywood. Lots of producers and directors came looking for him, wanting him to star in their movies.
Exactly right. So it could be a very popular actor. It could be a very popular book. And all the studios want to make that book into a movie or a TV show. So, it's getting a lot of attention. It's getting a lot of fame and things like that. So, yes, he became almost overnight a very popular actor. He'd been in a few smaller roles, often in ensemble things and, in movies with a group of young people. But Risky Business was the one where he was definitely the star, the lead. And it really is actually still quite a very entertaining movie. Great music, great style to it in that 80s kind of style. And it made him definitely, as we would say, a well-known person, a household name. The film, it says, was a huge success. I think it was one of the big hits of that summer, and Cruise quickly became a hot commodity. He was soon starring in numerous hit films, including Top Gun, 1986, Rain Man, 1988, and Mission Impossible, 1996, along with dozens of others. Top Gun was, of course, famous around the world, and these are numerous hit films that he appeared in during that period, along with many others. When we say numerous, we just mean a lot, more than a few, a good number, right? You see a lot of the letters from number in there in numerous, so it just means many, in other words. And he has showcased his versatility, hasn't he?
He certainly has. So here we've got the word showcase. That just means you display something that is very special, that requires a lot of skill to be able to do. So he showcased his versatility by appearing in a wide range of genres, and he remains a top box office draw to this day. Versatility just means you have the ability to do different things in different kinds of situations. He could be in an action movie, in a drama, maybe a musical or whatever. So he had this versatility. And yes, indeed, we talk about different genres of movies, like action movies, animation movies, adventure, comedy, stuff like that. Yep. Those are different genres. Western, indeed. Those are different genres. And so because of that, because he's tried different things, he remains a top box office draw or attraction to this day up to the present time. So indeed, I think lots of people are probably waiting with great anticipation for his next production to come out.
Absolutely, and no doubt he will have a production coming out, and also no doubt it will probably be filled with him doing dangerous things to entertain us, the movie audience. So let's find out more about Tom Cruise tomorrow in our article, but for now we're going to go over to Hanny, our wonderful Chinese teacher, who I believe also does all her own stunts.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny， 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第3部分最后一句提到 Cruise has showcased his versatility by appearing in a wide range of genres. 汤姆·克鲁斯借由出演各种不同类型的电影，展现了他的多才多艺。句子里面的单字 versatility， 它表示多才多艺，或是具有多种用途、多功能性。那这个字呢，其实是由 versatile 或是念作 versatile 加上名词字尾 ity 而来的。好，那我们来补充一下 versatile 这个字根。vers 和 vert 这一类字根，它有转动、翻转或是变动的意思，带有这些字根的字大多含有改变原状的语义。那么在 versatile 这个字当中，字根 vers 表示转， at 是来自动词字尾 ate 表示使成为， ile 是形容词字尾，表示具有某种能力。那我们从字根字尾表面的意思来看， versatile 它就是指具有转动变动的能力，也就是具有多变的能力。那从这个语义再带出了多才多艺的意思，所以 versatile 它就可以形容是有多种用途的、多才多艺的。好，我们顺便补充2个这一类字根的单字。第一个 invert， 它的字首 in 表示在点点点之中，在点点点之上，字根 vert 表示翻转。当我们把东西内外或上下翻转，那它就会前后倒置或是上下颠倒。用这个方式也许可以联想到 invert 它有使倒置、使颠倒的意思。第2个补充的是 divert 或是念作 divert， 它的字首 di 表示分离或是从什么什么，字根 vert 表示转。我们可以用转移到旁边来联想到 divert 它有使转向、使改道或者是转移注意力的意思。好，我们再看到课文，它有用到 a wide range of genres 来表达各种不同类型的电影。那么 a range of 它是指一系列的什么什么，我们可以用 a wide range of、a whole range of、a broad range of 或是 a full range of 等等去加名词来表达这个种类多元的各式各样的什么什么。举例来说 The shop sells a broad range of toys， 那间店有卖各式各样的玩具。我们也来补充其他可以表达各式各样的说法，像第一个你可以用到 a variety of 加名词，它可以指各种的什么，各式各样的什么。 variety 的前方也可以加上形容词，像 wide、large、great 等等。举例来说 There are a wide variety of food options on the menu， 菜单上有各式各样的食物可以选。好，那第2个补充的是 all kinds of 或是 all sorts of、all types of， 还有 all manner of， 它们可以表达各式各样的什么。那要特别注意 manner 在这个用法当中它固定用单数哦，像 all manner of musical instruments 就是可以表达各式各样的乐器。好，以上今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Skyscraper. From the top of the skyscraper, you can see the entire city. Cliff.We stood at the edge of the cliff and looked down at the ocean. Eventually. After many failed attempts, Molly eventually succeeded in solving the problem. Pursue. Carlos has been pursuing his dream of becoming a writer for many years. Commodity. Good teachers are a rare commodity in this rural area. Numerous. Mindy enjoys reading and has numerous books on her shelf. Genre.Claudette's favorite genre of music is classical.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.